What's up, vapors? Thanks for checking out Daily Vape TV. My name is Nick, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Engine 2 RTA. Alright guys, so the random question of the day is, if you were at a grocery store, what 3 items that you would bring up to the counter would make the cashier laugh? Now, I believe we've already talked about this on Vape Stew at some point, but I wanted to ask you guys on my channel here. I do have some personal experience in this field because at one point in my life, I used to be a cashier at a grocery store, and I swear to God, this is a true story. I cannot make this stuff up. On Halloween night, a gentleman came up to my register with rubber gloves, bananas, and petroleum jelly. Now, I have no idea what kind of evening he had planned, but that was definitely something that kind of made me question his sanity. But I want to hear from you guys. What 3 items would you bring up to the counter to make the cashier laugh or cry or squirm or whatever? I want to know right down there in the comments box below. So this is the Engine 2 RTA by a company called OBS. This one was given to me by the lovely people over at Heaven's Gifts, with a big shout out and thank you going their way for allowing me to take a look at this device for the purpose of making this video. So this was my first Engine RTA. I know they've got a bunch out there, but this is definitely a first for me. I really do like how this thing is all put together. I think it's a very high quality device for not a lot of money, which is definitely a win for me. So taking a quick look at heavensgifts.com, this device is available in 3 different color options for you to choose from. You have black, stainless steel, and black and gold. I, of course, have the black version, as you can see here. And with that, it's going to run you anywhere from about $26 to $36 online. So make sure you check out the links I've got right down there in the description if you guys want to take a look at one of these for yourself. But without further ado, let's go ahead and dive down to the close-up view and take a better look at this thing. Alright guys, so as you can see, we've got the Engine 2 in its original box, so let's quickly take a look around the packaging and then talk about what's inside. So first and foremost, pretty plain and simple, nice looking designed box. We have the picture of the device there with a little spot gloss. We have OBS, Engine 2, OBS technology, blah, blah, blah. On this side here, we have their little QR codes for Facebook and Instagram, and Engine 2 RTA up at the top. A lot of negative empty space there. Not sure what that's all about. Same thing on this side here. RTA up at the top with the scratch and check right there. And on the back, some basic information. We have what's in the box, our color indication. Mine is black, and a bunch of warnings. Another little Engine 2 thing down here at the bottom. So let's go ahead and take a look at what we get inside the box. Really like this box design overall. Very yellow, very yellow. OBS right there, nothing else on the outside there. So let's go ahead and pop that open. All right, well, we have, of course, the Engine 2 RTA. That's nice and blurry. Thanks, camera. All right, we'll just put that aside for right now since my camera doesn't want to focus on it. We have the box O parts. Now, this is really nice because on the back it has a little symbol for coils and screws and screwdriver and that kind of thing, which is kind of neat. At least I thought so, but that's just me. We have our bag of cotton, nice little Japanese cotton there, nothing too special or crazy. We have our bag of parts, some coils, some pre-made coils, decent looking coils, nothing super fancy or anything, but not bad nonetheless. We have our extra O-rings and a couple extra screws. Looks like we got 2 extra screws in there, which you might end up needing, so there you go. We also have a little screwdriver knocking around, and oh, come on, there it is. Extra glass piece. Really not happy that they just kind of left the glass piece in there with a screwdriver, but they could have thought that out a little bit better personally, but yeah. Anyways, we have our owner's manual. It's a booklet style, little tiny baby words in there, but not the worst I've ever seen. Some color graphics and that kind of thing, and some really nice illustrations as well. So yeah, not bad, no points off there. And of course, the obligatory warning card, our little, you know, what do you want to call that? Warranty card thing? I don't know. You're probably never going to look at this ever again, so let's just go ahead and move on. Alright guys, let's talk about the specs. First of all, it's 26 millimeters in diameter. It holds 5 mils of e-liquid, superior 304 stainless steel construction, Pyrex glass tube reinforcement, 2-post build deck with 2 terminals per post, terminals accessed from below, side secured via Phillips headed screws, single or dual coil configuration, patented top side filling system, 360 top adjustable airflow control with quad air slots, comes with a 510 resin widebore drip tip, and it has a stainless steel 510 connection. Alright guys, let's go over the Engine 2 from top to bottom as we typically do, starting off with the drip tip up top here. Yeah, as you can see, this thing looks like it skipped leg day. Has a big old wide top and a tiny little narrow 510 bottom. It's held on with 2 O-rings, which aren't the greatest in the world. I have had better, and these are just they're okay. They're not the worst, they're not the best, they're just kind of in between. Kind of has a nice shape to it, very comfortable to vape on, and I do like resin and acrylic drip tips over stainless steel any day. But then you can see the little bore at the bottom there. I really wish this thing was 810. That's one thing that I really wish they did with this one here, is made it an 810 sized bore and drip tip. So that's a little bit disappointing there. Next thing is the top is not actually coated with anything, it's just flat and stainless steel. Not sure why they did that exactly, but it doesn't really take away from the design at all, especially if you consider the drip tip kind of covers most of that, so there is that. But otherwise, it doesn't really make any difference as far as the overall performance, and I don't think it looks all that terrible. We have our airflow adjustment up at the top here. These are fully openable and closable. Yeah, no real issues with that. Honestly, the friction is kind of nice on there, kind of makes it so that you can set it and forget it. You know, that's what I like about airflow. Set it and forget it. We have the OBS logo right there engraved into the top section, the fill port section, if you will. We have our little tiny arrow. Not even sure if you guys are going to be able to see that. There you go. Little tiny arrow right there that shows where the fill port is. So we pull that up like that, and there is your fill port, which makes this thing really super easy to fill. Just like that, kind of lay it down at an angle there and fill it up with your bottle. I've been able to get a glass stripper in there and a unicorn bottle, so really no issues whatsoever. And that just kind of closes back down just like that. So as you could probably tell, I still have juice in mine, and that's one good thing about this design, is that you can actually take this thing apart to adjust your coils or change out your cotton without spilling a drop of liquid. You can have it pretty much all the way full to the top brim here, and it's not going to leak, which is really nice. Also, you can see the dome shape in the top cap section. That makes for really good flavor. So here's the build deck with my build still in it. Yes, I know it is really gunky and time to change out that cotton, but I just wanted to give you guys a feel for how this thing is built and wicked, and just kind of an overview of, you know, just the general concept behind it. So that is exactly how I built and wicked this thing, and you know, kind of gives you guys a reference for when you build yours. So here you can see the build deck with no coils in it. As you can see, the terminals are up top here, and basically this is where your coils are going to dangle from. They're going to hang in between there and the airflow section, which is a little bit limited on space, so you can't really build, you know, just whatever the hell you want in there. Kind of have a little bit of a size limitation. But with that, your airflow is going to come in from the side that comes through the top cap section, and it's going to hit your coils up in the bottom, so it's right underneath your coil there. And as you can see, on either side you have your little section for wicking, which wicking this thing is pretty much a breeze. Really never had any issues with it, but overall very cool, very nice build deck. Kind of you know, gotta credit them for ingenuity and uniqueness for sure. But with that, you have your O-ring going around the outside edge there. The only problem that I've ever had with that is that it could get stuck to your glass piece, which not that big of a deal. And on the bottom section here, you have designed by OBS and OBS Engine 2 with your serial number, and a fixed gold-plated pin. Now, kind of interesting that they went with a fixed pin for this one here. It doesn't adjust or anything like that, so just make sure you have enough room with your 510 threads. But it does kind of protrude ever so slightly. However, really wouldn't trust it on a hybrid mechanical. Let's just put it that way. Not that you would really want to use this thing on a hybrid mech anyways. So that's pretty much all I've got for you guys in this close-up section. Let's go back to the main screen, have a quick vape on this thing, and we'll talk about it some more. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed the close-up section of this video. Now let's talk about my personal thoughts about this device, some pros, some cons, and whether or not it's worth purchasing. Starting off with the pros, my first pro is that it's damn near leak-proof. This is a top airflow design, so it's going to be very difficult for juice to actually travel up and out the airflow holes. The only issue that I've had so far with this one here is just a little bit of gurgling, and the easy solution to that is hold it upside down and tap it over a paper towel for a minute, or just give it a little flick like that, and some drops will come out the drip tip. No big deal. fill, no harm, no foul. Otherwise, I've never had any major leaking issues with this guy here, and that seems to be a reoccurring problem that I have with most sub-ohm tanks and RTAs nowadays. My second pro for this one is the slide-up top fill. I love the ingenuity behind this design here. It's very sleek looking, and it gives it an overall sort of clean feel to it. You just slide up on that, you have your fill hole right there, fill it up with juice, and slide it back down. It's that easy. I've never had any issues with this thing popping open in my bag or anything like that, and it just is so much better than your unscrewable top caps that you have to put to the side in order to fill it up with juice. My third pro today is the 5 ml juice capacity. Now, taking a look at this tank here, you really wouldn't expect it to hold 5 mils of juice, but it's kind of a sleeper in that aspect there, and I've said this time and time again on my channel, but I think all tanks should have at least 5 mil capacity because I, for one, can't stand filling my tank a million times a day, but especially with this tank here, it's very easy to fill, so I feel like 5 mil capacity plus the ease of filling this thing make for one hell of a good design overall. And my fourth and final pro for this device is the overall quality. This thing feels like a very nicely made, well-machined, well kind of thought out device, and I gotta say, it's fantastic. I do have one little minor complaint, which we'll talk about in the con section in a second here, but overall, I would have to say for a device that's 26 to 36 bucks, this thing feels really nice. Alright guys, so moving on to the cons. My first con is that the build deck is a little bit on the fiddly side. It's not the easiest thing in the world to kind of wrap your head around, and it's going to take you a few extra minutes to kind of figure this whole thing out. Once you get used to it though, it's a breeze, I gotta say that. It's just kind of one of those things that you don't really see every day, and it's kind of new, so for me, it took a little bit of extra time to figure out that I needed to kind of move my coil legs inwards a little bit as I position my coil, but after that, it was a breeze. Otherwise, it's a pretty standard build deck, and it's just kind of one of those things that you don't see every day, so you're not used to it, and it makes it a little bit of a daunting task. And my second and final con for this device is that the screws are not the best. That's what I was referencing in my Pro. This is the one thing that kind of detracts from the overall quality, but it doesn't really surprise me one bit because I have yet to find the perfect Chinese-made screw out there, and this is definitely no exception to that. As I was wrenching on my screws, I was jumping them a little bit, and they tended to strip out. So I would highly recommend you guys get yourself a really nice precision set of screwdrivers if you're planning on building this thing all the time. So at the end of the day, is this device worth purchasing? Would I go out of my way to pick one of these up if I didn't get this in for review? I'm going to say yes to this one. Honestly, if you're a big-time RTA fan, then I feel like the Engine V2 by OBS should absolutely be in your collection. And personally, I feel like it's a very high-quality device for not a lot of money. Flavor is really good on it. The airflow is really nice. The filling system is nice. Overall, you really can't beat the price tag of between 26 and 36 bucks. So I'm definitely going to say a yes for me on the Engine 2. So with that, if you guys want to pick one up for yourself, I'll leave a link right down there in the description below. But that about does it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe for more videos just like this. Leave your comments down in the box below and check out the description for the advocacy and my social media links. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and as always, vape on.